Welcome to the Business Central launch event for the 2023 Release Wave 2. This session is what's new in server and database, and as a new thing this year, we split it up into 4 different sections. This is the first one, a faster runtime. If you want the full experience, you just go for all 4.
Yes.
Let's get started.
And who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't? So, Jens,
yes,
what do you have for?
The first one here is about a small extension we've done to the ErrorInfo data type. As you know, we're investing in how you can present errors to customers in a more intuitive way. And now the ErrorInfo, the AddAction method now supports adding a tooltip so that the user can get further information about the actions he or she can perform from the shown error dialog. Furthermore, it also now checks if you try to call an on-premises function. That was a small mistake we had in there that we fixed. If you happen to do that, then the action will simply not be shown because the user does not have permission to interact with this action. This is how it looks in source code, where you simply just add the tooltip as the 4th parameter, and then it'll show up in the UI when you hover over the action. Another thing we've added in this release is a secret text type for handling passwords, other sensitive information. That'll mainly be covered in the What's New in AL session. And another thing to mention is that we are wrapping up our permissions work, making it work a little better with security groups so that the effective permissions page now also include the permissions that you have gotten due to your membership of a group.
Right. Another thing that is important for the AL runtime is that queries now play a much more prominent role. So we added a new UI on queries. There's a full session on that allows you to do data analysis there. But we also made it possible to do runobject on queries so that you can write code just like this. You can add actions that simply open a query. And then you can put that as in the reporting section, for instance, on a page.
So after 10 years, queries suddenly get their time in the limelight.
Yeah, and you know what? We're not done yet.
That's absolutely true. We'll add to what the query can do, and you'll see more and more usage of it in the future. All right, we also have added extra telemetry. Now, usually it's Kenny talking about telemetry, but I'm going to mention this one. The partner telemetry have previously shown long-running AL calls, but one of the challenges was that the code could be suspended due to other threads or other sessions running, or it could be waiting for user input. So what we've done now is to handle the suspended time. So what you'll now see in the event is the exclusive time, which is the actual time that the method has actually been running and not just waiting to get its time to run. This is done by calculating suspended time and then just taking that away from the total time, and that's what we call exclusive time. And there's both an exclusive time and an exclusive time in milliseconds if you do a little Custo magic. This has also been added to the Telemetry app so that it now shows both the total time and the exclusive time, because in the end the total time is still relevant because that is what the user actually spends of time to complete this action or this workflow that he is currently working on. Another small improvement, and this is more in the small curious things, is session creation, which is slightly faster. And you might think, so what does 2 to 4 milliseconds mean? Well, it actually means that for at least one of our customers out there, they will save 5 hours every day for the busiest customers. And this is done by just caching the companies that a user has access to so that we don't have to recalculate it every time a new session is created.
Can I say something here?
Of course you can. And even if I said no, you still would.
I would. So 2 to 4 milliseconds, of course, is nothing for a UI session. But for web services, especially if you run a lot of small, fast web services, maybe 8-10 milliseconds, this is actually shaving off 25% of those, which means that the throughput of your web service calls, if you like do a lot of them, will actually feel like you get more through the system.
Yes. Now, another thing that you probably won't see in daily operations, but we feel a lot, is that the startup of each tenant, the mounting of a tenant, is now significantly faster because the way we hook up event subscribers has been optimized significantly. So it is for very busy nodes with a lot of tenants, it means up to 1,000 times faster. You will only see this difference if you are running an on-premise solution for multiple customers, in which case you would also benefit from this change. It also means that we use less memory. That's basically it for the runtime. It's not been our main topic this release.
Wait for it. So go-dos, of course, is I think main advice here is you should stop using the old error method, the one that just has normal parameters, the one that is not using ErrorInfo data type. The ErrorInfo data type is the way forward. This is where we put all the goodies, all the new stuff. And it's also a non-breaking way of doing it, right? Because
we add new methods, we add new properties to the ErrorInfo object, expanding on its capabilities. And it's really something that we want to invest in, which is to help the customer move forward whenever an error occurs.
But if you use this ErrorInfo, if you're just using a few of the properties, that's fine. Once you are upgraded, the ErrorInfo can now do more, and you can change your code to use new capabilities, right?
Yeah, and of course you can create helper functions that if there are some things you always set, then you can just wrap that in a helper function to generate the ErrorInfo object.
Yeah, and then hardening security is always key. So if you have code where it is really imperative that this information is never in memory dumps or can be debugged or any other place where that is a true secret, make sure that you start using this new data type secret text. And with that, other relevant sessions, of course, if you like this server and database, go to the next one with on the data stack. But also what's new in AL, everything new in the compiler and the tooling around the language. We also want to talk about telemetry. I'll be doing a session on that. And then we have a new kid on the block, the middle one.
Yeah, that's mainly talking about, or our part of that is mainly the business events, which can be used to integrate to Powerflow, Power Automate, and in Dataverse integration. And that is covered in the What's New in Dataverse and Dynamics 365 app integration, part 2.
So resources. As always, Yammer is where the action happens. You can also go on X, Twitter. You can use BC All as the AKA link for all the short links for Business Central. Of course, if you have ideas for things that we should invest in, BC Ideas is the link for you. And a lot of the things we talk about in the launch event is also repeated on office hours, where you can also ask questions and comment about things. So that's also a way to learn more. That's it for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And hope to see you in the next session.